Okay, what is going on, guys? It is Shane, and we are back with another album ranking. I'm gonna take a sip of this beer. One of the beers I know is Anheuser-Busch, and they just brought back for a limited time the Busch Light Apple, and it's fucking awesome. It tastes like you're drinking alcoholic apple juice. Anyways, we got Megadeth today for the worst to best. There are 16 records in here. I'm gonna try and go through them as quickly, but yet as still intelligently as possible. Megadeth, as most of you who clicked on this video know, but as a couple might not, the lead singer and lead guitarist, actually rhythm guitarist, Dave Mustaine, who sings and does rhythm, similar to James Hetfield, was kicked out of Metallica. Right before they began the recording process for their Metallica's first record, Kill 'Em All, when they started in Rochester, New York. Right before they came to Rochester, they kicked Dave out, which I think is crazy, but it's all in the past. Some of this stuff is going to be towards the end, towards the bottom of the list. It's going to be a little difficult, except for the last picks, as per usual, just because it's such a large discography, and that's kind of why some of the records after about 2002 start to get like not great. Besides, Risk, because he kind of like just started pumping these records out and really didn't seem like he was taking too much of his time. Obviously, it took some of his time because he made a record. It's not like trash, but it's not great stuff, some of it either. But anyways, let's get into it. So starting off, we have the album Risk at the bottom. There's some good songs on here. One of my only songs on here besides, I forgot the name of the song, but this record's so timeless, but I know the song Time the Beginning is a really good acoustic little kind of ballad. But this record is by far Megadeth's worst record, and I think this is the last one with Marty Friedman, and I think the reason they got rid of Marty Friedman is because he wanted to be more mainstream, and it was because I remember an interview, Dave Mustaine was basically, he said along the lines of, well, we made a record to please Marty, to kind of make it as mainstream as we could while still sounding metal, and he wanted to go even more mainstream and we couldn't deal with it, basically. So that's already why Risk sounded so not Megadeth. Like I've said about every other band, it's true for every band, including the one I might create in the future, or be able to get off the ground, is that, take a sip of the beer, is that sometimes you will make an album where, in your standards, it's terrible, but to, like, let's say a beginner band or even some of the fans, like, who have a unique style and have an open mind, it actually doesn't sound that bad. It's just a different style and direction of music. Which I can understand why fans get pissed off. They the best thing I've heard said is by Phil Anselmo, and he says, about Metallica's Load and Reload, why not just make a side project, instead of making the album sound completely different than your style and genre. It was strange, all that stuff with Metallica, but anyways, Risk is at the bottom for sure. So part of what I mentioned in the intro is, some of this stuff is kind of jam-packed. The bottom of the list here is going to be like stuff that was released within a year or two of each other for a while. And it kind of seems forced, rushed, and just not cared for, if that makes sense. Like I said in the Van Halen ranking, for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, I would take 100%. But if I couldn't take For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge and Megadeth let me take one of their record titles for myself, one thing I will say about this record is that the name Super Collider and that album cover is fucking sick, dude. I think that's a sick record cover, but they unfortunately did not do a great job in making this record live up to what it looks and sounds like as when you speak and look at it, But It's still not like Risk. That's why it's above Risk, because it's still metal, but it's not. It's not. You know what? People might disagree with me here, but when you see the other picks, you'll understand. I did not like Endgame. I forgot most of the track listing because again, this record is just does not stick around for very long. But and like I've said, I only talk about bands I know, but even the bands I do know, just some of their stuff is so horrible I won't even listen to it. But Endgame, I only liked one song there. I can't remember what it was called, but it was one of the ballads. But other than that, I did not care for this record either, and I don't really want to say much about Endgame. United Abominations. The song Washington is Next, I think, is a killer song. And some of the songs on here are okay, but just like the previous three records, it's not. And it was same with this record, and this record. United Abominations just was not taken care of. It was released. It was rushed. For some reason, his discography up until like I think 2004, The System Has Failed, 2004. After that, I think he had like 10 records at that point. He could have just taken the next 6 records and condensed them to like 3 or 2 even, and made them just epic long records. But he decided to pump out this, not to sound mean to Dave Mustaine, because I love Megadeth, and the picks that are at the top are fucking legendary records. But he's just pumping out shit at that point, so. Number 12. Number 12 is 13. Good tracks on this record. It's not bad for being released in the same time period as these last, 3, or actually, the last 3 we discussed now. But it's still in that time period, but for it being in that time period, it was the best released out of that time period. But one of my favorite notable records is they took sorry about that. They took I don't really feel like, I didn't do it with the other ones, and I think Notifications are hilarious. It didn't give a name anyways, so I know who that was, but I think it it's certain circumstances, you know how that goes. But anyways, the song has been tracked on 3 recordings. The demo, New World Order by Megadeth, was originally tracked for Euthanasia, and when they did, I think they released like a box set of Euthanasia, and they included, because it's on YouTube now, they included the New World Order demo. And then I think in '95, the year after, they re-recorded it for Hidden Treasures, I think it's like a best of kind of compilation. But they retracked New World Order. Sorry, I struggle saying that. But what I like about 13 is they finally released it as like a verifiable final album release song, New World Order, and it was, if you listen to New World Order on 13 here, it's balls. So I mean, it's heavy. Like that intro sounds like someone took a hammer and like banged it against the shed. It's like fucking tent, it's loud as shit and heavy. But it's still not a bad album here. The System Has Failed. Now, I will personally admit I've listened to this probably 2 times front to back, and I've listened to, and that shows I'm a Megadeth fan. I'm a fan of all these bands I've ranked, but I've listened to this record less than any of them, strangely. Even less than the ones that are ranked below it, which everyone has their own little quirk, but but I still can remember what I heard on this record, the tone, the production quality, and some of the song titles, but none of them really stood out per se. But I think front to back, this is a solid album. The System Has Failed was the last good record until his most recent 2 releases, which are coming up here. But I think The System Has Failed from 2004 was the best record that Megadeth released until the recent 2. So like for a while. But it's worth listening to. I do remember that. The World Needs a Hero. You actually hear a song on here called When? ? Where you hear the riff that Metallica stole from Dave Mustaine. The intro to Call of Cthulhu on Ride the Lightning is a Dave Mustaine riff, and you can hear it on the song When on this record. But this record is just like it's the one I just talked about before. It's actually came before, so I think this one was released in 2002. But the World Needs a Hero in the title track, actually, the World Needs a Hero, the title track is good too. But there's other songs in this record that are worth listening to if you have an open mind. But again, it's just not their best material. But it's just like OU812 and let me think the other one. What was the other one? But it's stuck between a rock and a hard place. This record, it's not the best, but it's not bad. World Needs a Hero is definitely not bad. Worth listening to. Cryptic Writings. Use the Man is a good song. Trust is a good song. This record came out after Euthanasia. I believe this came out in 1998. But Cryptic Writings, I think, for it being a shift in their sound, because they started shifting away because of Marty Friedman. After Countdown to Extinction, they became soft until The World Needs a Hero. But Cryptic Writings, even though it was a change in their style, it was legendary. And if you actually, little thing you may not have realized about Megadeth, even though like it'll be obvious once I say it, is that Dave Mustaine was chasing the ghost, and probably still is chasing the ghost of his Metallica days, which is crazy. Because if you listen to the first 4 records, thrash metal. Soon as Metallica released the Black Album, because if you think about it, Rust in Peace came out in 1990 before they released the Black Album. So for all Dave Mustaine knew, they were going to do another like crazy metal record. And if you listen to 88's Injustice and 88 So Far So Good So What, you can tell that he mirrored Metallica as he went. So like 85's Killing Is My Business mirrored Kill 'Em All. 86's Rust in Peace kind of mirrored Ride the Lightning. So Far So Good So What was just his own original material. Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying, like his own like image of it. He wasn't really looking at Metallica particularly there. Then when you look at Rust in Peace, it's 100% trying to one up it or level out with Justice. And then the Black Album comes out in 91, which became more mainstream, and all of a sudden Dave Mustaine's style changes to Countdown to Extinction, which is more mainstream, but still a good record, just like 1991's the Black Album, self-titled. And then when so much time passed after 92 that he didn't release another record in there, they decided to go ahead and record again, and they kept it the same style, waiting for Metallica's next move. Interestingly. And then, when Load and Reload came out, getting to the point here, 1998, Mustaine recorded Cryptic Writings, which the reason I mention all that is because it sounds like a Load, Reload type of record. It's got that smoke a cigar, wear fur coats and eyeliner type shit that Metallica was doing at that time. And cut my hair type shit, even though Mustaine never did cut his hair. I'll give him that. Mustaine never cut his hair. I'll give him that. It's interesting. But Cryptic Writings is worth listening to ultimately. It's a good change in music, in my opinion. Oh, here we have the second and most recent release, which I mentioned. Now, this is where I talked about that period where they were all like pumped out. This is where I believe Dave Mustaine and the rest of the band took a great turn, took some time, and made a classic thrasher. And just like Metallica, after they released Hardwired, he decided to return to his thrash roots and make a well thought, well prepared, and intricate return to roots classic thrash metal album. And I think Dystopia does encompass that, though. I really think it does, and I can appreciate Dystopia quite a lot. Number 7. Now, again, it's on the list because it's realistic, but this personally is my favorite Megadeth record is Euthanasia. I fucking love it. Euthanasia, honestly, I think Megadeth was following the ghost of Metallica, but I think Megadeth actually took a lot of influence from Pantera, because if you think about it, they had released Cowboys and Vulgar, and were tracking Beyond Driven at this point of this release, and they probably released it by the time this was released, but they were tracking their album at the same time that Pantera was tracking Driven. Anyways, the reason I like this record, if you know anything about my personality, a lot of my favorite songs and records that if you pay attention, and my favorite music, I love, that's why I love Pantera. Groove. I love groove. Something that has a style of groove and a swing to it. I fucking love it. And that's why I like Euthanasia. Songs like Reckoning Day, Blood of Heroes is fucking awesome. The New World Order demo, Family Tree, I think is a little cool, little neat one in there. Elysian Fields is my favorite Megadeth song of all time. Elysian Fields. The Killing Road is a great song. Just timeless classics on this record, and it's really, if you want to look at like true great epic legendary songwriting, this was Megadeth's last good record, which is why it's at number 7. Moving on. Here we have above Euthanasia, because in my opinion, his most recent record was his best to date, just like Metallica's 72 Seasons, except this came out before 72 Seasons did. And I think this came out in 2022. The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead is a classic throwback Megadeth thrasher. And honestly, not to sound cliche and boring, but time's running hot here. The title track is The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead is just encompasses it, and it actually strangely sounds like a Euthanasia song. But it's in front to back. I've spun it probably about 3-4 times. It's fucking awesome. Great return. Nice job, Dave Mustaine. Holy shit. Number 5, we have 1988. So Far, So Good, So What. Into the Lungs of Hell, In My Darkest Hour, and Mary Jane are some of the songs that stuck out for me on this record. Out of from 85's to 94's records, I don't think this one is that great, just because of the sound quality. So out of all Megadeth production, even Risk was produced sound wise better than this was. The production, I think the mixing on this record was awful, which is ironic because Injustices on the same year was also fucking not great mixing. But they deliberately did that. They fucking turned off Newsted's bass. So, I mean, really, but anyways. Nah, this record's classic, though. If you look past the way it sounds, if you look at the writing, the lyrics, the composition, the song titles, and the way they designed the record and made it flow, damn good record. Still worth completely listening to. Killing Is My Business. The title track, The Mechanics, which was Dave Mustaine's rendition of his own song that was stolen from him, from the band that kicked him out ultimately. What was the song? I forgot the song. It had a great keyboard intro. Can't believe I'm not remembering it. But it's a fucking. But this record is just like Kill 'Em All. It's his first attempt at making a studio album, but it's fucking awesome. Dave Mustaine was so good, though, he didn't even have to record a demo. There's no Megadeth really demos, like albums from before they released the studios. There's probably demos out there from during their discography, but before this record, he was so good at guitar, they signed him. And because he was a member of Metallica. I hate saying that because Mustaine was super good, but the only reason he gained the initial notoriety was from his guitar playing. But Killing Is My Business, classic thrash, front to back, just balls to the wall thrash. It's fucking legendary. Countdown to Extinction, songs like Sweating Bullets, Symphony of Destruction, great tune. Let me take a sip of beer here. Countdown to Extinction, for them going a little more mainstream, still a classic rock banger. It's a banger. It's a good record, though. It's similar to the Black Album. It's like, even though they changed their sound and went a little mainstream, it still sounds fucking awesome. I love Countdown to Extinction, but it's one of them records I can't really say much about it. It's just so similar to the Black Album. It's insane, but it's fucking awesome. And look at that. I think that album cover is really symbolic of like a deeper psychedelic, true mind delving imagery and thought processes, and I think that's pretty cool. Oh my god, these top two. The top two records, which if you paid attention, you will know the number one spot. But these two records are almost identical. The only thing that sets Rust in Peace apart from the number one spot is Rust in Peace is, talk about pure thrash metal. Holy Wars, Hangar 18, Poison Was the Cure, Tornado of Souls, Take No Prisoners. Dude, but this album, if you want to hear phenomenal, exemplary, top tier, in my opinion, I think the best thrash metal guitarist out of all the big four, out of Anthrax, Metallica, Megadeth, and Slayer, I think that Dave Mustaine is the number one guitar player out of all of them. They're all, some of them are come very close, like Kerry King and stuff like that, and even Kirk Hammett, but and Scotty Ian, but whatever. I think this record shows Dave Mustaine's full capabilities, him at the peak of his life, the peak of his fast playing, because he's a young man at this time, but at the same time shows a level of maturity like I've never seen from a man his age at that time. And that's saying something. He had the wisdom of like a 50-year-old. This record is not only musically complicated, and it makes your eyes widen every time you hear it. You can never grow old with it. But it's, dude, the theme, the government, the conspiracy, fucking alien UFO crash, fucking test site, fucking Area 51 fucking theory is fucking awesome. I think this record is, you need to say more. And now we move on to number one. Now, out of the big four, not only is Megadeth and just Dave Mustaine in general my favorite out of all the thrash, but this is my favorite. If you want, someone looked at me and said, "Tell me what your favorite thrash metal album is," it's Peace Sells, but Who's Buying? Besides Elysian Fields, I think my top 5 Megadeth songs go as follows: Elysian Fields. 2 is Wake Up Dead from this record. 3 is My Last Words from this record. 4 is Peace Sells from this record. And 5 is Hangar 18 from the previous one we discussed, Rust in Peace. But Good Morning Black Friday, Bad Omen, Wake Up Dead, Peace Sells, My Last Words. There's not a single song on this record, everything from the colors on the album, to the gold Megadeth logo, to the title, to the lyrics, to the compositions, to the sheer epicness of the intros, melodies, harmonies, singing, speed riffs, blast beats. Everything about Peace Sells But Who's Buying is nothing short of beyond elite. And I'm actually about to go have some beers with my friends, and this is going to play the entire. I'm going to spin this front to back. This fucking record is nothing short of legendary. I need say less. Megadeth is nothing short of legendary, except some of the stuff they did from 2004 to about 2016 was not great. But what they have here, what they tracked before that, I can't blame them for being lazy. To be honest, this shit is so fucking awesome. But I will leave it there. Like, subscribe, turn on the bell. Peace and love. You know the drill. I love you all. Peace.